at Dr. Zabby's talk show.
Akí gbogbo wa wípé akúbọjọ ọjọ́ ṣeré akí ẹ̀yin ìyá akí bàbá akí ẹ̀gbọ́n akí gbogbo wa wípé ọdẹ ọdábí èmi ọmọ yín àbúrò yín olólùfẹ́ yín Dr. Zabby talk show ayé ọpẹyọ ṣe ọlọ́dọ̀ títí yín náà bí wọ́n lágbé wá fún wa lọ́jọ́ títí òní pé kájọ ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí nǹkan tó ń lọ ní orílẹ̀-èdè wa. Yorùbá ni mí, Yorùbá ni ìran mi, mo dẹ̀ fẹ́ràn ìlú mi tọkàntọkàn taratara. Ẹ jẹ́ kí a lọ sí nǹkan tó kàn lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí.
You're welcome. Kindly subscribe to YouTube channel and follow on Facebook page at Dr. Zabby's talk show.
Kí la fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ títí òní? Fún àti máa polongo ìkéde awareness, ipa wo ni wọ́n kó nípa nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Áfíríkà? Ipa wo ni èmi kó? Báwo ló ṣe rí lọ́dọ̀ títí yín? Ojú wo lẹ̀yin fi wò ó? Ṣé bó yẹ kó rí ṣóun ló rí? Ṣé bó yẹ kó yẹ ṣóun náà ló yẹ? A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó dìde tó ń mú bí iṣẹ́ wípé Áfíríkà lápapọ̀ kò gbọdọ̀ bàjẹ́ kò gbọdọ̀ dàrú. Wọ́n wá fi omi kó wa lómi ọbẹ̀ jẹ ni. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ti ń gbé ẹnu tó ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ sókè wípé kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ṣé bó yẹ kó rí nìyẹn wípé kò yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀? Now ẹ máa bá mi kálọ.
Let's take it back to Africa. Prior to the children of Africa being taken out of Africa as slaves, and even after they were taken out of Africa as slaves, the instructions that the missionaries were given in terms of how to deal with the African. Remember, when they came to Africa, they found very resistant people, very well-established religious educational systems, people who were so strong that they didn't know how they could conquer Africa unless they addressed the issues of Africa from the core. So they set out a process of letting us believe that everything to do with Black and African was bad, and everything to do with white was better. White and European was better. We have to understand that the missionaries were given instructions on how to instruct us and how to control our minds. They were told to teach us how to read, but not to reason. It was a systematic process, specific instructions on how to handle a Black person in order to get them where they wanted us to be. They used the same process with the slaves on the plantations, where they began this process of divide and conquer, lighter-skinned people versus darker-skinned people, the straighter your nose versus the flatter your nose, thin lips versus thick lips. It was a process that we have been put through. We have been trained to self-hate. I use the example of religion, and I use an example of myself growing up in Zimbabwe. The British did not come to Zimbabwe until 1896. Prior to their coming, we did not know of white color or Black color. We were Africans. We were Africans. But the missionaries came in and they told us about Christianity. They told us about Jesus Christ. They told us about the angels who were white and the devil who was Black. Then they turn around and say, the angels are desirable. They do the wonderful things. We must aspire to be like them. And they said, oh, by the way, we may not look like this white sheet of paper. Besides, remember, they introduced the color white and the color Black. We didn't have that. So we know how Black looks like. We know how white looks like. But they turn around and say, the angels are white and we are white too. Never mind how we look. We may not look like this piece of paper, but believe we are white and we represent the angels. And you're Black. You may not look like this cover of my phone, which is Black, but you represent the devil. The devil is Black, the devil is evil. We all must run away from the devil. You don't want to represent the devil. Oh, by the way, you may not look like this Black piece of paper, but you're Black too. Then now let's go to church. And we kneel down in front of the white angels. in front of white Jesus, who we know very well Jesus Christ was not white. Even their own Bible tells us he had crimson skin. We know for a fact that when Mary and Joseph were running away from King Herod, they were told to go to Egypt. Why? Because in Egypt, Jesus Christ would blend with those who looked more like him. If he was white, they would have told them to run to Europe. So we have all these obvious lies that we have been told. So for centuries, we have knelt and worshipped white Jesus and white angels and denied that which they told us represented us. So they systematically put us through a process of self-hate. It is not by surprise that we hate ourselves. We don't like each other. We don't trust each other. Understand that this has been a systematic process of criminalizing Blackness.
Does not, rather,
us to hate everything that looks like us, and educating that the more we look closer to what white people do, the better off we are. So we spend the rest of our lives and the lives of our children and the lives of generations to come, if we do not do something about it, hating ourselves, teaching our children to hate ourselves. We are a sick people. Let's face it. We need healing. We have been so brainwashed to hate ourselves. We have been so brainwashed to the point that even the obvious lies, we hear them, we know their lies, but we can't get ourselves to unbelieve. I believe in Jesus Christ. What I have problems with is what they have done with the name of Jesus Christ. Abused his name, misrepresented his name. Religion, they have used it as an instrument to brainwash us. I believe in the religion. It is how it is taught to us and presented to us. It is distorted. It is no longer the truth that the Bible speaks of. But we know better. Because when we are lied to, we know it. Why do we find it so difficult to denounce those lies? The lies that Martin Luther King spoke about. We know we do some of the dumbest things. A Black man opens a shop in a Black neighborhood, and the minute a Chinaman opens a shop next door to them, we Black people, we stop patronizing a Black man and we run to the Chinaman. It's the case of the white man's ice is colder. How sick can we be? How dumb can we be? Even in the face of obvious truths, it's easier for us to believe a white man when they lie to us because the white man said so. The question is, how long will it take us to understand that those are lies that we have been told, that we have been programmed to hate ourselves? Understand your history. That will begin the process of healing. Understand what has been done to you. Understand that you're riding some.
You're welcome. Kindly subscribe to YouTube channel and follow on Facebook page at Dr. Zabby's Talk Show.
Somebody else's train, going in somebody else's direction towards their own destination. Your train is in the next track. It should be going in the opposite direction. That is where your destiny is. Understand that you are the father of humanity. Understand, as a Black woman, you are the mother of humanity. You gave birth to the first human being. Understand that before they were, you were. So as the father and mother of humanity, why do you accept the lies? Why do you allow those you gave birth to, those whose sheer existence depends on you, to abuse you? Understand your history. Understand where you have been. Stand on the tallest mountain and let the world know the facts that they themselves have uncovered. They went to Europe, looking for the origins of humanity. They couldn't find it there. They went everywhere around the world looking for the origins of humanity. They couldn't find it until they came to our Africa.
Wow. Wow.
Stand on top of the tallest mountain.
Wow.
And proclaim to the world who you are.
Wow.
But that starts with your understanding of your history. Let the world know that you're the beautiful, intelligent, sophisticated, highly adaptable, and totally indestructible original person, original human being, the African. So yes, it was a long answer, but you needed to hear it from the beginning. It starts, it stays, and it ends with your understanding of your history. Know your history, know where you have been, and understand and accept first and foremost that we are a wounded people and we need healing. And that healing begins with one having a serious conversation with the image in the mirror. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Very passionately presented. I will say that if the color coding was intentional, and for that matter, it was also false, why do we continue to call ourselves blacks and call others whites or yellow or whatever? Why don't we just stop using that categorization and simply call ourselves Africans?
You're quite right.
Yeah.
I speak to that. I speak to that all the time. Again, we're just accepting the blatant lies. My brother, I'm looking at you, you're looking at me. I don't blend with my black hair. I don't blend with my black dress. So yes, those are lies. We need to undo them. So maybe there needs to be a movement that needs to start to say we are Africans and we refuse to be color-coded anymore, because that color coding, it goes to the core of who we are. Look at that little experiment they did on CNN with Anderson Cooper, with little girls being given white dolls and black dolls. Even black kids at that early age, they preferred the white doll. So it's deep. So yes, we can change it. We can begin by saying we're Africans, no more color, because that is it was used to divide us. It was used to self-hate. So I agree with you. I think there should be a movement to refuse to be called black and be called African.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Aki gbogbo wa pátápátá ìgbà kò bójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí. Wake up alert. A ti sùn, a ti sùn, a ti sùn, a ti sùn. A sọ wípé kí ẹlẹ́sìn kó má ṣe ẹ̀sìn ẹ̀, bọ́ ibo la ti wá, ta ni wá gangan. Tí n bá ń sọ wípé a ní àwa àṣẹ, kò possible kí òyìnbó kó bí dúdú, but ó possible dáadáa kí dúdú kó bí òyìnbó. Àlóyìnbó wa títí sẹ̀, mo ti máa ń sọ, ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá ti gbọ́ nínú ọ̀rọ̀ mi, ẹ bá mi fi comment sílẹ̀. Òyìnbó wa títí wípé àníbo ni ayé ti bẹ̀rẹ̀, ó ní Áfíríkà ni. Bó ó ti wá gbàgbéra, torí àwọn náà kọ sínú ìwé mímọ́ fún wa wípé Adam àti Eve, ibi tó àwọn Adam lọ́lọ́run kọ́kọ́ dá, wọ́n tó wá yọ nínú ẹ̀gbẹ́ Adam, wọ́n tó wá fi ṣe kọ́lọ́run tó wá fi ṣe Eve. Ẹ wo àwọn ìwé tán gbé wá fún wa yẹn. Àwọn ọmọdé gbàgbọ́ ló mọ lórí ń báyìí sìn, torí pé wọ́n fi wá kó wa lómi ọbẹ̀ jẹ ni. Wọ́n fi wá sọ fún wa wípé ẹ̀yin ò jẹ́ nǹkan kan, gbogbo nǹkan tẹ̀ ń kó sọ́wọ́ yìí, àtúwá superior ju ti yín lọ, àtó bá gba tiwa báyìí, àìṣọ́ tí ọ̀run ó máa wà òkè fún ẹ, ó máa, òun gangan nǹkan tán wá lò nìyẹn. A ní òyìnbó dà ní church lénìí, òyìnbó dà ní mosque lénìí, bọ̀ àwa Áfíríkà ká bí wọn, àwa la wá tún gba ọ̀dẹ̀ òkè tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ àti ẹ̀wà gbọ́ wípé kò sí research, kò sí nǹkan kan tó gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ náà ni. Tí nǹkan kan bá ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ kó tó gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń sọ, èèyàn mélòó ló rówó ra láti ra newspaper, family mélòó ló jẹ́ pé òkè bàbá àti ìyá wọn ń ka newspaper ládùúgbò yín ní street yín. O lè ka, mo ń sọ bóyá bíi 80s 70s sẹ́yìn bẹ́yìn. Àdìmọ̀ yìí ń repeat ẹ̀sẹ̀ tó bá jẹ́ pé bóyá bíi 60s ni, kódà gan ní 70s nílẹ̀ lẹ́yìn bíbá ní nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Niger ló ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹn sẹ́. Àwọn France tí wọ́n máa ti mú jẹ tipẹ́tipẹ́ tó lọ́ máa ti kógun lọ bẹ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀ lẹ́kàn máa gbé pa ológun ń ṣẹlẹ̀ níbì kan ni o news tó bá gbé láàárọ̀ bóyá ó ti dalẹ́ kẹtí tó gbọ́ and that's all. bó nísìnyí gan àwọn gan ń bẹ̀rù media àwọn ń bẹ̀rù social media wípé oh my god tóyìnbó bá mọ̀ ní pọ́rọ̀ nǹkan tí social media máa dálẹ̀ rẹ̀ àlọ́ wọn ò ní jẹ́ kó kàn wá lọ́wọ́ ní Áfíríkà. kí ló dé tí òyìnbó fi way of life ń kọ́ ọmọ títí ẹ̀ ń sìn táwọn pe aláàfáà síta táwọn gbé ọmọ wọn lọ sí church bàbá wọn sábà ní ayé bàjẹ́ kínní kan àwọn ọmọ tó fi church ń kọ́ àti mọ́ṣáláṣí tó fi ń kọ́ ẹgbẹ́ wọn sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ọmọ òyìnbó táwọn bá figagbága ọmọ òyìnbó gan tún lè bíìtì ọmọ rẹ̀ tó fi ẹ̀sìn kọ́. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Ẹ̀sìn ti bà nǹkan jẹ́ ní Áfíríkà. Wọ́n dẹ̀ mú wáyé pé kẹ́sìn tún nǹkan ṣe ni. Àtìgbà tán ti mú ẹ̀sìn wá. Ẹnu ọwọ́ sí nǹkan méjì mẹ́ta tí Áfíríkà rí ṣe ní àpapọ̀. Ẹ̀sìn náà kọ́kọ́ fi kọ́ ń kà wá náà. Àti èdè àwa fúnra wa àti àwa àti kọ́lọ̀ wa gangan. Òyìnbó mélòó ló fẹ́ sọ ọmọ ẹ̀ lórúkọ ẹ̀? Òyìnbó mélòó ló fẹ́ sọ ọmọ ẹ̀ yàtọ̀ sí pé bóyá tó bá yẹ pé ó fẹ́ dúdú bọ̀ àwa gbogbo orúkọ wọn pátápátá là ń jẹ́ tán gbogbo everything wọn because nǹkan tó ń ṣe fún wa náà nìyẹn. Brother mi àti sister mi láì má lọ púpọ̀ jù torí mi ò ní fẹ́ kí fídíò yìí kó pẹ́ rárá gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí abẹ̀yìn ni ẹ bá wa share ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí ni ẹ bá wa fi comment rẹ̀ tẹ́ bá jẹ́ pé kí wa náà ara ìjà lẹ́yìn wà ara ẹ̀ náà lẹ̀ ṣe ẹ̀yin tó bá jẹ́ nígbà àkọ́kọ́ tẹ́ bá ti subscribe sórí ìkànnì wa yìí ẹ bá wa subscribe so that anytime tó bá ń ṣe program á lè máa fún yín ní alert tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ ti subscribe ẹ lọ tẹ ibi tí all wà all ní kẹtẹ ibi tó ń kọ all ALL ní kẹ lọ kílíkì tó bá gbé bẹ́ẹ̀lì yẹn jáde fún yín so that anytime tó bá ń ṣe program á lè máa fún yín ní notification. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré lọ wo eléyìí pé kí ló tiẹ̀ ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọ̀dà Áfíríkà tó kù gan pàápàá lọ́dà Áfíríkà tó kù adúpẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run náà because a rí àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan náà lórí social media pé àwọn èèyàn gan tí mọ́wọ́ tún yàtọ̀ sósì wọ́n ti mọ̀ wípé lóòótọ́ sẹ̀ bọ́ àní dákẹ́ ẹ̀sẹ̀ torí wípé kìíní láìpẹ́ láì jìnnà àgbàládùá ni àní tí Yorùbá nation tó bá wá sí ìmúṣẹ sẹ̀ ẹ gbà wípé UN ibi tí UN ní Áfíríkà tó máa ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ nìyẹn. Ṣé rí gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ibi ìgbà tó jẹ́ pé à ń prepare sílẹ̀ à ń prepare ọjọ́ ọ̀la sílẹ̀ ní gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń ṣe ẹwọ ẹni tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ ń sìn kò ń ṣe torí nǹkan tó fẹ́ jẹ àwọn ìjọba àwọn lajẹgúdújẹrá àwọn ló ń sọ wípé kọ́lọ̀ ń jẹ́ rí tèmi jẹ́ ń bẹ̀ ni òyìnbó máa ní kọ́lọ̀ ń jẹ́ kóun rí nǹkan ṣe sílẹ̀ fáwọn ìran tó ń bọ̀ ni òyìnbó máa bímọ torí pé kóun lè tọ́ ọmọ yẹn Áfíríkà máa bímọ torí pé àmọ́ ọmọ tó máa sin wá àdèmọ́ ọmọ tó máa ṣe fún wa jẹ ẹ bá mi tú lọ́dọ̀ yín bẹ́ẹ̀ àdìtú ni ẹ bá mi pín ní kéékèèké náà ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré gbé yín débi wá.
That thing, put on your shirt, put a tie on you, put a jacket, polish your shoes, and say, now you look nice. Because apparently you must become. Does not have tolerance for culture. Does not. Rather, I would rather take off that thing, put on your shirt, put a tie on you, put a jacket, polish your shoes, and say, now you look nice. Because apparently you must become European first before you can become Christian. In order for God to accept you, He cannot accept you in your authenticity. He needs first to take you through the culture of the dominant culture, which is the colonial culture, before you can actually become an acceptable Christian. An intelligent conversation needs to take place where we say, is everything that we are doing in the Christian church Christian? Or some of the things, norms, and rituals that we are performing are actually European culture, but now they've been couched and packaged as Christianity. The way we sing, for example, the way we dress, for example, the way we eat, for example, the way we celebrate our things, our holidays, our festivals, our Passovers, and etc. Are these things, Easters, are these things biblical?
Well, in conclusion to that conversation, Joshua says Africans should start asking themselves questions. Now, my biggest issue with modern day religion as we know it on the continent, there's no room for questions. If you ask questions, you'll be thrown out of the church, you'll be thrown out. There's no room for conversation. I think that I was African and I will always be African before I am any other thing. And I have such a big problem. And many young people also have a big problem with reconciling the fact that the people that brought religion on the continent are the people that were shooting and killing people, looting their natural resources, stealing their land, loading people in boats, and shipping them off to Europe and Americas to work as slaves. I have such a big problem reconciling these two, you know, and people will talk about, oh, don't believe in what people say, just believe in the word. And I'm like, yeah, but that word was brought by you. And if you can't believe in what you're teaching, why should I believe in it? It's like saying, oh, don't look at what I do, just listen to what I say. It doesn't work like that, bruv. It doesn't work like that. And you know, right now, many Africans are beginning to go back to the traditional African spiritual practices, you know.
ṣé gbọ́ nǹkan tó sọ ń bẹ̀ yẹn? Ó ní many Africa, kò ní Nàìjíríà, kò ní Ghana, many ẹ jẹ́ ká tún bẹ̀ yẹn gbọ́.
And you know, right now, many Africans are beginning to go back to the traditional African spiritual practices, you know. Like in South Africa, you'll find sangomas, and they're not old people. They're very young people.
ṣé gbọ́, ó ní ní South Africa, not old people, not old people, not old people. Ọpọlọ wa tí òyìnbó kó lọ yẹn, a ti ń gbà lọ́wọ́ wọn by fire by thunder, because kò sí èrè tó wà ń bẹ̀ kò pé 5% nǹkan tó ń ṣe fún wa. Nǹkan tó ń fi bàjẹ́ 99.9 ló ń fi bàjẹ́ fún wa.
Ancestors are beginning to call back people and say, hey, listen, this is who you were. This is what we used to do before all the shenanigans were brought onto the continent. And that's the same thing that Joshua is saying. Open your eyes, start asking questions. And when you begin to interrogate some of the religious practices that are being hailed on the continent by white people, you'll realize that there's so many loopholes. I am not asking you to ditch religion, or neither is Joshua. I'm just saying you were African first before you became a colonized Christian.
Yeah.
Here's my motivation for Africa. Africa went to the shop and bought a packet of apples. Half the first one. The apple was rotten. Throw it away. Worms in the Pick up another one again. Half. Second bite. 2. The worms are still there. Pull. Spit on the ground. The intelligent friend standing in the room then looks at this one who has thrown away 2 apples. Says, hey, Mfit, don't do that. Switch off the lights. Let's eat the apples. Now that man is intelligent. Because you don't. The only problem we have here is the abundance of light. That's what is showing us the worms. So if we can switch off the light, we can eat the apples. And even the worms become part of the protein. Now, how do we as Africans think that by switching off the light of knowledge and information, continuous eating of these rotten apples will make them healthy? So in my own thing, guys, we may as well just switch on the lights while we're eating. When we notice what is rotten.
Well, that's all I had for you. Let me know what you think. This is a very controversial subject, I know, but some of these questions have to be asked, you know, and they're gifts of civilization. There are certain great things that have come from civilization, but it shouldn't be at the expense of who we are. We should not erase who we truly are just for the sake of civilization. It will always be there. It will forever be there, but we cannot lose touch with who we are. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
No, mo kí ẹ̀yin bàbá, mo kí ẹ̀gbọ́n, mo kí àbúrò, wípé a kú bójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí. Now, lórí ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ nǹkan tó kọ́kọ́ ń fa wàhálà sílẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Chief Sunday Igboho Òòṣà bàbá dá mi, kọ́lọ́run kó bá wa tún wọn ṣe, kọ́lọ́run kó gbàdúrà wọn, kọ́lọ́run kó gbàdúrà gbogbo wa lápapọ̀. Lọ́jọ́ kìíní àná ni ẹ lọ múra, ẹ lọ dira, ẹ lọ, you know, but Christian ni bàbá. Chief Sunday Igboho Christian ni. Bó ó nígbàgbọ́ nínú àwọn nǹkan tí ìran ẹ̀ nínú nǹkan táwọn ìran ẹ̀ tọ́lọ́run jogún fún wa, Ọlọ́run ló jogún ẹ̀ fún wa. Kò ń ṣe pé èèyàn kan ló jí láàárọ̀ tó lọ sọ wípé ẹ̀fọ́ àti ilá òun fẹ́. No, Ọlọ́run ló jogún ẹ̀ fún àwọn bàbá wa. Chief Sunday Igboho lòun ní ìgbàgbọ́ lórí ẹ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ wípé gbogbo wa or 90% wa la nígbàgbọ́ lórí nǹkan yìí, bóyá òun bá tún dájú báyìí lọ. Gbogbo ẹni tó bá ṣe irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, ó ń kó wọn lọ sí ilé ẹbọ ni o, ó ń kó wọn lọ kúrò nínú ẹ̀sìn ni o. Ṣé Chief Sunday Igboho ló kó gbogbo Africa ń sìn? Tàbí ẹ̀gbọ́n nǹkan tó sọ mẹ́, ṣé kí n play ẹ̀ padà fún yín? Ẹ lọ rewind ẹ̀ fúnra ara yín. Ó ní gbogbo youth Africa, ó ní kò ń ṣe àwọn àgbàlagbà o. That means nothing more. Wípé òkè tiwa leléyìí, tiwa kọ́ leléyìí. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìwọ tó bá dẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé irú Chief Sunday Igboho yẹn kò lè wá sí church wa ní kó má wá torí pé ó ń já ewé àtegbò kó dẹ̀ fi pààyàn. Ìyẹn dẹ̀ kù sọ́wọ́ òun àti Jésù. Ìyẹn yàtọ̀ sí tàwọn other religion tó máa sọ wípé òkè tó bá ti ń ṣe báyìí ó ti kúrò nínú ẹ̀sìn àwọn. But Kristẹni, ó bá wùn ẹ̀ tó àìwá sí church gbàdúrà ṣàdúrà ń ṣàmì kò dẹ̀ padà sílé ẹ̀. Bó bá wùn ẹ̀ kó gun ọṣẹ ṣá máa gun yàn mọ́. Bó bá wùn ẹ̀ kó bó bá wùn ẹ̀ kó tún jẹ́ agbọmọlà. Nǹkan tí a bá lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá wa nìyẹn, kó tó di wípé bó ṣe anything, bó já ewé àti nǹkan kan gan tán bá rí ẹ lásán gan, ó ti kúrò lójú ọ̀nà nìyẹn. Whereas most àwọn tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí, torí bá fọ́ ọmọ wọn sí ọ̀sẹ̀ kan, tẹ́sẹ̀ bá dun ọmọ wọn sí ọ̀sẹ̀ kan, àwọn ẹni yìí ló ń wá lọ. Ọ̀hún dẹ̀ lọ bá wọn wípé wá bá wa pààyàn, ó wá lọ bá wọn wípé àìdá ọjà mi ò tà, a ṣe nǹkan kan èrò pọ̀ ń bẹ̀, a ṣe kinní kan kọjá wa lè tà, kinní kan. Àáfà kan sọ̀nà wípé ìyẹn òun ṣe ni mo bá nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ ṣòlélẹ má dé tó dá dúró ń sìn. Àáfà ńlá ni, àáfà ńlá tó bá ń ka 1 to 10, àáfà yìí wà láàrin wọn. Ó ní tiẹ̀ bá ẹ, tó bá rẹ́ni tó fún ẹ lọ́ṣẹ tó lò, tó bá rẹ́ni tó fún ẹ kódà kó sọ débi tírà gan, tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ pọ́n ti pín gbogbo ẹ̀ kéékèèké, wáì tí a mójútó àrùn, wàhálà, ìdààmú tí òyìnbó tó kó wá bá wa ní Áfíríkà. Tó bá jẹ́ pé òun la rí lì mójútó báyìí, bọ̀ ẹ̀sìn tó yìí fi dààmú wa yẹn náà, a sì ń lépa ẹ̀, a fi ẹ̀tẹ̀ sílẹ̀ à ń palàpálàpà. Tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé tí ìlú bá da, ìwọ gan wàá rí ẹ̀sìn ṣe. Tó bá níṣẹ́ déédéé, tọ́mọ ẹ gan nífọ̀kànbalẹ̀, tó fẹ́ sanwó school ọmọ, tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa sá kákàkiri. Àìmọye tó wà lórí social media tó jẹ́ wípé ó máa send fact sí ẹni, á send proof yẹn sí ẹ wípé òun leléyìí, wọ́n lé ọmọ òun ní school ni, kò rówó san. Ìjọba ń ṣe wá, àwọn aráàlú ti ń ṣe wá. Kó tó di wípé anybody mọ ẹ̀sìn, ọmọ Áfíríkà ló kọ́kọ́ mọ̀ ipò jẹ́, ọmọ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ló kọ́kọ́ mọ̀, ìyá àti bàbá ẹ̀ ló kọ́kọ́ mọ̀, kó tó di pé wọ́n sọ pé ó yẹ kó sanwó, ó yẹ tó bá fẹ́ kírun, tó bá fẹ́ jẹun, ó yá dijú kó gbàdúrà. Àwọn òun ló kọ́kọ́ mọ̀. Kó ti bàjẹ́ gan ni. Àwa ní dáwọn yẹn lẹ́bi torí pé a bá nǹkan yìí, à ń bá. Bàbá yìí ṣe rí ní 10 years ago kọ́ ló ṣe rí nísìnyí. Báyé ṣe rí ní 15 years ago, kódà gan ní last year gan bẹ́ẹ̀ náà kọ́ ló ṣe rí o. Torí ilé ayé yìí bọ́ọ̀lù ni. Bọ̀ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí Áfíríkà, aago ń dún wípé ká wake up, a ti sùn lọ jù, a fẹ̀tẹ̀ sílẹ̀, à ń palàpálàpà. Bọ́ níwọ̀nba èyí tí àwa tá bá lè ṣe nínú ẹ̀ láti lè máa gbé àwọn nǹkan tó ń lọ tó máa ṣí wa létí, tá máa rí wípé kò ń ṣe Áfíríkà, kò ń ṣe ilẹ̀ Yorùbá tiwa nìkan làwọn èèyàn ti ń ka nǹkan tó ti wá ń gbọ́ nǹkan sí, yàtọ̀ sígbà tó ń rí kà tẹ́lẹ̀, nǹkan tó wá mú láwọn bàbá wa lọ́wọ́. Kódà gan bàbá mi gan máa ti gégùn sílẹ̀ ni. Ọmọ òun tó bá kúrò nínú ẹ̀sìn, kí ló mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀sìn yẹn? Ìgbà tó lọ kọ́ṣẹ́ bábìn, bọ́n ṣe ń ṣe bábìn saloon, ṣó tún lọ kọ́ṣẹ́ bọ́n ṣe máa ń wẹ̀ fún òkú ni? Ṣó tún kọ́ iṣẹ́ bọ́n ṣe máa ń gún abẹ́rẹ́ fún ẹni tára ẹ̀ ò dá ni? Ṣó tún lọ kọ́ṣẹ́ ọlọ́dẹ ni? Ṣebí iṣẹ́ bábìn yẹn ibẹ̀ ló fèsì, òun ló kọ́ tó fi wá kúrò ńbẹ̀, òun ló wá fi lé ọmọ lọ́wọ́ tó tó wá fi èpè sí wípé ọmọ ẹ tó ò bá ṣiṣẹ́ bábìn yìí o torí nígbà yẹn dẹ̀rẹ̀ ìwọ ò tiẹ̀ mọ́wọ́ kan yàtọ̀ sósì nǹkan tí pásítọ̀ àáfà tó ṣàlàyé fún yín báyìí ni òun náà ló tọ́mọ yẹn bá wá lóun débì kan òun náà tiẹ̀ fẹ́ lọ ka gbogbo ẹ̀sìn báwo ni gbogbo ẹ̀sìn ṣe rí kò gbọ́dọ̀ shoes torí pé bàbá mi ọ̀ ìyá mi ó ti fèpè sílẹ̀ ó ti lẹ́sìn yìí lọ irú ìgbésí ayé tá à ń lò bọ̀ látẹ̀yìn yẹn bó ayé tá a wà yìí kọ̀ǹpútà èjì náà ń pè brother mi àti sister mi kò ní bàjẹ́ kò ní fẹ́ bàjẹ́ fún wa láéláé èmi ọmọ yín àbúrò yín olólùfẹ́ yìí Dr. Zabby Talk Show ayé ọpẹ́ yọ ṣé ọlọ́dọ̀ títí yín náà ní agbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run ayé ọpẹ́ a máa yọ fún wa ni àní báláyé ṣe ò ní agbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run wọn ní púpọ̀ ọmọ káwa mọ́lé one love bye for now ètò bá sọ tó bá kú díẹ̀ káàtó ẹ̀ ṣàforíjì ètò bá dẹ̀ sọ náà tó bá wà òkè níwọ̀nba náà àwa náà kọ́ Ọlọ́run náà ni á dẹ̀ máa ṣe é ṣe fún wa àwa ò ní ṣìwí ní ṣìwà gbọ́ one love bye for now.
You're welcome. Kindly subscribe to YouTube channel and follow on Facebook page at Dr. Zabby's Talk Show.